I'd like to invite Tom Murphy from Gama Aviation up. This was a panel of 5 FBO chains. They've all dropped out or exited the market. We don't know what's happening, apart from Tom. But earlier today, Tom, we had a question during Jan's session from Falcon about how many FBOs there are in the Dubai area. It is very competitive, isn't it? Despite the panel.
Yeah, absolutely. There's, from Abu Dhabi to Sharjah, over 150 kilometers, there's 10 FBOs competing for around 25,000 movements last year. If you compare that to the London market, there's 13 FBOs roughly in London for 100,000 movements. So, it's incredibly competitive here. But I also agree with what he said, with what Can said. Off the back of that competition, I don't think it's, I don't think that it's, off the back of that competition, we produce some of the best FBOs in the world. UAE is a world-leading country for FBO market.
And it really is, though. I'm not just saying that because we're here, but you compare a regional US FBO with a Dubai, any one of several in this region, it's a completely different experience.
Yeah, definitely. I think when you just look at the facilities of the FBOs here, I mean, some of it is unnecessary, but the expectations of clients in this part of the world are very, very high. But I also think the quality of your facility, has to be backed up, obviously, by hitting the mark in terms of service.
Are they all profitable?
I think some FBOs will be, or organisations that have an FBO will be far more reliant on their additional services like their MRO, aircraft management, charter, trip support. Sort of the other services they provide will be more important and more points of focus for them, depending on their volumes.
And there are rumours about people being poached from competitors, and I guess you're slightly insulated from that in Sharjah.
Yeah.
But is it easy finding people?
I think there's an abundance of talent here and abundance of people in the looking for FBO roles, whether it be commercial or operational. Actually, we struggle more in the UK with our FBOs. We have 2 FBOs in the UK. We struggle more there to find available talent at the right cost, at a realistic cost. Whereas here it's more straightforward. There's lots of likely candidates for the roles we need to fill.
And as we saw earlier, there's no sign of it getting less competitive.
No, definitely not. It's getting more competitive. There's going to be an additional FBO in Ras Al Khaimah at some point. That really will be interesting, I believe, off the back of sort of the gaming happening in now. That's going to bring incremental movements into the UAE, which is good news for all of us. And obviously, we're developing our own new facility to elevate what we can offer. A first-class facility, hangarage, and dedicated apron connecting to the airport.
Are you going back to the UK example, are you sort of trying to build the Farnborough, where you have like a single FBO, slightly different, as opposed to more competitive Luton or Biggin?
Definitely, that's why we refer to it as the Business Aviation Centre that we're developing. It's more than just a VIP terminal and a hangar. We're going to be completely autonomous in that area and actually sort of segregated from the rest of the airport. You're only going to be able to access our area by the taxiway or coming from landside. So, an exclusive area dedicated to business jets and autonomous services from us where we cover everything from the ground handling and all of the airside and landside services.
And I know this is your biggest investment as a company, and you've been working on it for a while now.
Yeah.
Do you see other opportunities in the region?
Without doubt. Obviously, Saudi's been spoken about a lot over the course of this, and huge opportunities there. Amazing what they're doing with the development of the additional airports, and it'd be interesting how that affects the market here. I think it's could be a positive thing.
Do you think you'd be? I'm thinking you've got Jersey where you're Seoul, you've got Sharjah where you're Seoul. Would you be interested in being one or two FBOs?
Definitely. For the right opportunity, right volumes, and certain locations, and availability of additional services, we're open to all opportunities if they fit the criteria. We have a third FBO in Glasgow. That has a competitor next door. So we approach that in a slightly different way. But if it's the right opportunity, then of course, maybe not 5 though.
I forgot about Glasgow.
Yeah.
Someone's saying it's a big investment. How about the Sharjah traffic?
Yeah, thanks for that. I think that there's been a long sort of standing perception, really, that there's just constantly road traffic to and from Sharjah. And I think that's been massively dented now, that perception. There's traffic all over the UAE. It's not unique to Sharjah. I came from sort of the J1 area today. It took me an hour to get here. It's not uncommon. It's a city that's getting busier and busier. And I think one of the best adverts that we use actually is during the MEBA show. If we're talking to an operator or a broker, talking to them about Sharjah, and if they happen to be staying in a downtown hotel, we say to them, look, when you leave at 4 p.m., 5 p.m., and you're still in the taxi in an hour and a half's time, go on Google Maps and see how quick it would have been if you'd come in from Sharjah, and think about that from a client perspective.
And someone else is asking another nice question. Do you think it's fair to operators when an airport decides to only appoint one FBO? Giving you a monopoly. I guess you could argue you haven't got a monopoly because there's always other airports to find.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much choice, and I don't think it's unfair. I think that it's managed by the airport authority. Unless an FBO is blatantly increasing their fees above what's benchmarked in nearby airports, then I wouldn't say it's unfair. It just has to be managed correctly. Okay,
final question. eVTOLs to avoid the traffic solves all the problems.
Let's see. It was really encouraging to hear that the Joby guys and were talking yesterday about operating from 26. It'll be interesting price point as well. I think they said $120. So, if it's going to happen anywhere, it's going to happen here. And great to avoid the traffic, as you say.
Have you looked at it yet, eVTOL and Sharjah?
We've spoken to a few different manufacturers. We've got an abundance of space on our site. We're also, part of the development is going to include a helipad that could accommodate eVTOLs. So it's definitely something we're discussing with the manufacturers, yeah.
And you've answered the question about helipads.
There you go.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We'll go outside for afternoon tea. I should make it clear that all of the other people who couldn't make it had a completely valid reason. It wasn't anything to do with Tom. And afternoon tea is outside.
I was wondering what we were going to talk about.